Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Bearden and I'm a librarian for St. Tammany Parish Schools. I'm so glad you could join me. I'm going to read Chapter 6 of Lila and Hadley for you. Chapter 6. The doctors first told me I was losing my sight a couple years ago, but apparently it had been happening for a while before that. It happened real slow, so I hardly noticed. I remember walking out of the grocery store with Mama one night in the winter. The sun had set and the lights in the parking lot had come on. But as Mama walked toward the car, pushing the grocery cart and expecting me to walk behind her, it hit me all of a sudden. I couldn't see. I could see the headlights from cars pulling in and the glow of the street lamps, sure, but they just looked like bright, gleaming spots surrounded by darkness. The lights were just little orbs of contrast, but they didn't actually light up anything around them for me. Later, the doctors would explain that this has something to do with how retinitis pigmentosa affects the rods and cones of my eyes, or something like that. But at the time, all I knew was that I used to be able to see in serious situations like this, and then I just couldn't. And I hadn't been able to for a while. It wasn't scary, not really, because my vision hadn't gone away all at once. It was more that I noticed the change all at once, even though it'd been going on for a long time. Like standing on the edge of the parking lot, I realized that a year or two before, I'd been able to see in places like this, even when it was dark. And the change had happened so gradually, I didn't even have a clue when I stopped being able to see. The same thing was happening with space at the edges of my vision. I was having to turn my head more and more to see things out to the sides and stumbling over things I should have been able to see without looking down. So Mama took me to the eye doctor, who sent me to a fancier eye doctor who ran all sorts of tests before telling me I was going blind. I wasn't legally blind just yet, but I would be soon, and it would just keep getting worse from there. At first, I really didn't know what legally blind meant, but as far as I understand, it basically just means my eyes are bad enough that, as far as the government or laws or whatever are concerned, I might as well be blind, even though I can still see some. According to my doctor, most blind people actually do have some vision. It just ain't a whole lot. You know, Bean, Mama said one night last autumn, I've been thinking about something. We were walking out of the movie theater after seeing the newest Pixar movie. Back then, Mama liked to have girls' night once a month, where we go to a movie or out for dinner or spend a couple hours at the mall together, just the two of us. The movie theater had been dark, and it was dark outside now too, so I was holding onto Mama's arm as she led the way to the car. Well, Mama said, with how things are going with your vision, I was thinking it might be a good idea to start looking into, I don't know, some classes maybe? Like you could learn to read Braille, or maybe we can find someone to teach you how to cook. The kind things that might be hard once your eyes get worse. And I could look into you getting one of those white canes. I don't know a lot about it, but I could find out. I'm sure your school could work with me. Meh. I don't need any of that, I said. That's so. Yeah, I don't need Braille because I can still read all right, and I don't gotta learn to cook because you do that for me. Mama gave me a playful bop on the back of the head when I said that. I grinned up at her, even though I couldn't see her face too well in this lighting. It's true, I insisted, and as for the cane, I get around just fine. Bean, you can't see real well right now, Mama pointed out. That's just because it's dark, I said. I'm fine during the day, and I ain't got no reason to go anywhere by myself at night. Don't say ain't, Hadley. Mama stopped next to the passenger side of the car and opened the door for me. Once I was inside, she shut the door before going around to her own seat and hopping in next to me. Seatbelt, please, she said, and then continued with what we had been talking about a second ago. And I know you don't go anywhere by yourself at night right now, but someday you're going to want to. You'll be in high school, and you're not going to want to hold on to your mama's arm." "Sure I will," I said. "I won't ever be embarrassed of you, Mama." "I find that hard to believe," she said. She started the engine, but she didn't back out of the parking spot yet. "I'm being serious, Hadley. I think some sort of classes just to make sure you're prepared could be good. I'm going to do my best to teach you everything I can, but this is new for me too, Bean. I've never been blind, and I'm not sure how to teach you everything." I sighed. "I'm okay, Mama. You can teach me fine. Do we got to talk about this?" "I'm afraid so, Bean." She reached over and stroked the back of my head, her fingers sliding through my hair. "Why are you so resistant to this?" "I don't know," I mumbled. I guess I wouldn't mind learning to cook or something, but I don't want to use a cane. People will think it's weird and they'll laugh at me." "What people?" People, I said. "People at school, my friends." "Do you really think Joey or Maya would think you were weird for using a cane if it helped you?" "No. Or maybe. I don't know." "I don't think they would, Bean," Mama assured me. "And if they did, they aren't the kind of friends you deserve." "Well, even if they don't, other people will." "Oh, Hadley," Mama sighed as she leaned across the center console and wrapped her arm around my shoulders. "I wish I could tell you nobody will be jerks and laugh or say mean things, but I can't promise that. What I can promise you is that the people who do laugh are the ones with the problem, not you, and they won't be worth a bit of your time." I shrugged because I knew she was right, that those people would just be jerks, but I wasn't sure that mattered. Who cared who'd be laughing at me if there were people laughing at all? "I can also tell you that if it's being laughed at that you're worried about, a lot more people would laugh at you for having your mama around in high school or college than if you used a cane," she said, but now there was a note of teasing in her voice. "I'm sure glad you aren't embarrassed of me. I love that you're still willing to hold my hand in public, but you won't always want me next to you, and I'm not always going to be able to be there. And I want to know that you're still safe when I'm not there." "I guess." "I tell you what," she said, pulling away from me and leaning back into her seat. "We don't have to do anything right away, but I'll start looking into classes and stuff, figure out how it all works, and then we can talk about it again. Maybe we get a good start on this when you're in 7th grade. That way you'll have all sorts of time to get set for high school. You'll be able to go out with your friends without me tagging along. And hey, if you learn Braille, you could teach Maya and Joey, and y'all could send little coded messages." "Maybe," I said. "If that's as close to a yes as I'm getting for now, I'll take it," she said, and we pulled out of the movie theater parking lot. "We'll put this on hold for a moment. In the meantime, how does ice cream sound? I'm feeling like a trip to Dairy Queen is in order." Truth was, the idea of starting high school using a cane sounded awful. But I knew Mama had a point. Still, I didn't want to deal with it right then. I wanted to put it off as long as possible, and without knowing it, I got my wish. It wasn't long after that the calls from the lawyers and Mama got all distant and upset. She didn't look into those classes, and if she did, she forgot to talk to me about it. And I tried to forget too, to pretend I didn't need any of it, even though she'd been right. She wasn't always going to be there to hold my hand. She isn't here right now, after all. Thank you for listening as we read Chapter 6 of Lila and Hadley. If you'd like to hear more of these, you can watch daily on STPPS TV or on our website at stpsb.org. Keep learning and keep reading.